Sports lovers, sports fans, sports aficionados. Welcome back to another episode of Global Sports Caribbean Perspectives. I am your host, Prime, and I'm here with my boy
Shabba
and
Dopy.
And we're back together again for another episode. Remember, this is the ultimate place for all things sports. I'm talking the best games, the best teams, the best players, with the best takes on things, everything sports, all global sports from a Caribbean perspective, where we turn passion into purpose. And we're kicking things off right away. We got a packed show for you today, lots and lots of action since we last spoke, since we were all last together as well. So, we'll kick things off today by taking it back to this day in sporting history. That's what we want to start with. And then we'll break down all the key talking points from the European top leagues. We'll talk a little bit about the UCL games that just finished in the second to last match day. And we'll also be talking about AFCON. Lots of action in the AFCON final, boy. Lots of things to talk about. And I know Dopy has some quick hits with cricket in the wicket coming up a little bit later on. So let's get right into it. This day in history, January 22nd, we want to take you back to Foreman versus Fraser in 1973. George Foreman, total knockout on Joe Fraser, 2 rounds, and he won himself the WBC and WBA heavyweight boxing titles. This match, however, is really significant because it was fought right here in the Caribbean, fought in Kingston, Jamaica. Fraser knocked down 3 times in both the first and second rounds. A demolition job from George Foreman in 73. Another demolition job, and this they want to talk about, is in 06. Kobe Bryant, famous or infamous 81-point game. 122 to 104 Lakers victory over the Toronto Raptors, a team that a lot of people would rep in the seasons past on account of their NBA champ. That was his second highest game total in NBA history, by the way. He is behind only Will Chamberlain with his 100-point game in 1962. And we know that one is
infamous.
Yeah, also infamous. Quite contested.
No footage. Never seen it.
In fact, quite contested. Some recent history. Joel Embiid set a record. He set the NBA 76ers franchise record with 70 points in a single game. So another high scoring match on this day. 133 to 123, winning versus Shabba's favorite team, the San Antonio Spurs in Philadelphia. The previous record was 68, set by
Wilt.
Exactly. Will Chamberlain in 67. So we see the different dynamics, and Sam perhaps there's something about it. By the way, this is Caitlin Clark's birthday as well.
Big up yourself.
Shout out Caitlin Clark. So big day for basketball and big day for George Foreman. Some serious hits in Kingston. That was this day in history. So right now we want to switch things up and head over to Europe's top 5 leagues. We want to start with the Premier League, but I think before we do that, we should talk a bit about the AFCON final, boy.
Sure.
Let's get into it. Senegal beat Morocco 1-0 in a rather extraordinarily chaotic Africa Cup of Nations final, we have to say. Papi Gueye scored the extra time stunner, bad goal, after they had walked off the pitch, refused to play following the decision of that late penalty for Morocco. Off the bat, this is the first time I ever see something like this. I think I've seen similar situations, probably in way lower leagues and things like that, but this is the first time I've seen like a professional team walk off in lieu of a sporting decision from the referee. Emotions getting the best of them?
I'd say that they were within their rights, not necessarily to walk off the field, but to feel some sort of injustice by the decision to award the penalty, in my opinion. It was soft, and it even went to VAR, where the referee went to the screen and made the decision. However, the precedent that they would set by doing that means that in the future, if another decision is controversial to a team, they would be within their rights to, okay, so let's go off the field for a half hour and freeze the penalty kick taker to come back and miss. Because that's the precedent that has now been set. So it's a tricky topic. They probably should have been punished. I don't think anything is going to happen retrospectively, but it was very controversial.
It's a strange one. I mean, at the end, they got back on the field. Brahim Diaz had the chance to win the trophy for the host with the final kick, technically speaking, in regulation time. The decision to penalize Dio for dragging Diaz down is what really prompted Senegal coach to call his players, because that's what he actually did, and lead them back to the dressing room. But we had to talk about what happened before that. Senegal had the ball in the back of the net in the first added minute. Sarr nodded in from beneath the crossbar after Gay had the header bouncing off of the post. But the referee had already blown, apparently, for a really rather soft foul upon Hakimi. Scandalous.
So you would understand why Senegal would feel
Yes, I can understand.
Yeah, I feel it's that decision that had them
already in Senegal.
yeah, on that kind of vibe.
Yeah, but looking at it, I mean, as I said, I could understand it, but looking at it from a different lens, the referee stayed consistent because calls on both ends were really soft.
True.
But both calls went into the direction of Morocco. So that's why I feel like it was super controversial.
Especially considering the game playing in Morocco too.
Exactly.
Morocco and a final, of course. So yeah, I could understand the controversy, but at least you could see that he, stayed consistent with his decisions. Diouf stopped Brahim. I mean, he got an advantage to clear the ball. Brahim was clearly in the trajectory of the ball, clearly in the line of the ball. Diouf got an advantage to clear. And on the other end, the attacker got an advantage by, even though it was soft, by pushing Hakimi away. Even though in his defense, Hakimi eyes was completely on the attacker and not on the ball, while the attacker eyes was on the ball. So yeah, but at the same time,
you would understand it in the heat of the moment, especially.
It's tough.
What would you say about the coach calling the players on Mane, telling the players?
Well, I guess it shows the character of both individuals, because him being the head coach has the final say. But Mane being the captain,
and the
leader
leader
in the dressing room, also has as much say as the coach, clearly. So like I said, I would understand the players' frustration by the decisions that were made consecutively, especially in the 90th minute of a final. Right? You would feel like there was no coming back. But I wouldn't agree with my coach.
No excuse.
I wouldn't agree with my coach, making that decision on behalf of the players. Walked off, you know what I'm saying, and but the coach calling them off is somewhat
bad example. They should have been disqualified then and there, honestly.
Then and there.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the Panenka though. from Brahim Diaz. Dopy not happy with that performance on the international stage from his Real Madrid player.
I mean, Brahim, that ain't you, bro.
Yeah.
You ain't got that juice.
No, that ain't Brahim, bro. And I was shocked. I mean, yeah, he has 10 on his back, but I was really shocked that Brahim was the one walking towards the back thing. Yeah, I think it's crazy to say, maybe El Nasiri, crazy to say, but I thought, maybe the striker would step up and take the penalty.
To be fair to Brahim, he ended the tournament with being the top scorer. He scored a penalty in the tournament as well. So he was looked at as the leading attacker, and he seemed confident
to take
the ball, everything before.
Mendy seemed equally confident though.
Mendy didn't move.
Mendy.
Seriously, so he telegraphed it. I'm gonna trip you, bro.
Think about it though. Football is fine margins, and Zinedine Zidane tried the same thing in 2006 and nearly missed. And if Zidane did miss, he would have been slaughtered for it. But it's looked at as a piece of genius now that the crossbar and come down and score. So it's give and take. But Brahim should have definitely put his foot behind the ball. We would have been having a different conversation.
Do you give any credence to the rumors? The rumors of a little dressing room deal
with Africa, and not to be stereotypical, but I have to be. It's in history. It's corruption is something that is infamous with African football and Africa in general. So it wouldn't be surprising, but I don't think with a final on the line in front of your home fans, your whole family and everything is there, you would
Just give it away,
You
right?
just give it to free. You have
Yeah.
to be a hero.
But I don't know, it was just weird to see, Brian talking to Mane and then Mane talking to Mendes.
Sus.
Yeah.
It's sus.
Resource. All of that set the stage for Gay's pile driver. He bundled his way to the edge of the box, fired a rocket, overshot top corner, top bins,
And that's how
and clinched Senegal's second AFCON triumph amid all of that atmosphere in Morocco in Rabat. It seems this was Sadio Mane's final game at the tournament, perhaps his final game for Senegal.
Maybe. Well, he didn't
For the
announce
World
any
Cup.
retirement. Yeah, remember they have the World Cup coming in the summer,
Well,
so
in
final AFCON game for
AFCON
sure,
game,
probably.
yeah, for Senegal.
Probably.
There was still time in the game for a little controversy, shot wide, crossbar. But all in all, we have to say at GSCP, congratulations overall.
And big
Even
up.
after all of that, big up to Senegal for,
And big up
in the
Shabba
end, a
for
well-deserved win.
Come on.
Their second AFCON titles. Shab had them as his pick, so
Surely.
big up Shab.
And I did say 1-0 too.
Yeah.
Did say 1-0 last week.
So that's the AFCON final. We now want to head up to Europe, start to talk about the top 5 leagues over the weekend. We're going to start in England. Interesting game week. None of the top 4 won. It was a very low scoring week, kind of a snooze fest, I was telling Shabba, to be honest. Only 16 goals scored in the 10 fixtures, as an average of less than 2 per game. These are some of the big results that we had, and we'll talk about a few of these games. Of course, we had the Manchester Derby, and in case you haven't known, Manchester is red currently. Man United beating Man City 2-0. I'll just recap the results and then we'll come back and talk about the games. Chelsea with a 2-0 win over Brentford. But Liverpool were held by Burnley at home 1-1. Nottingham Forest also held Arsenal 0-0. And we also had some other results. Leeds beat Fulham 1-0. Brighton and Bournemouth had a 1-1. Draw Sunderland beat Palace 2-1. And Tottenham lost to West Ham 1 goal at home to West Ham's 2. Wolves and Newcastle drew. Aston Villa lost to Everton 1-0. So currently, as the table stands, Arsenal are still top. 50 points are up for Arsenal, halfway there to the 100 points. I'm sure that they'll quite get there based on. We'll see how it goes. City on 43, Villa as well on 43, in second and third respectively. Liverpool are down in fourth with 36, so they're, might say they're not necessarily in the title race at this current point. Man United in 35 in fifth, and Chelsea on 34 points down there in sixth place. So let's start by talking about the Manchester Derby. Carrick back at it again, in charge of Manchester United. We're not sure for quite, how long he might be there. But you have to say dream start.
Yeah, absolutely.
My boy Mbeumo having a great season. And, they I was having a joke at football earlier. They answer to Doku. Dogu with a goal in the 2-0 win over Manchester City. Michael Carrick couldn't ask for a better start, honestly, to his second stint in United. He remains unbeaten in 4 games in charge of the Red Devils, overall, winning 3, drawing 1. New manager bounce or not. Pep Guardiola, meanwhile, has now suffered 10 total defeats to United. That's his joint most against any club in his managerial career. That's the same as versus Liverpool and Tottenham as well. So, we see who are the major opponents to Pep in England. Haaland has gone now 7 games without scoring a non-penalty goal. That's his longest run while playing for a team in Europe's top 5 leagues. That's with Man City or even back in the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund. So big up to Michael Carrick. Highlights some massive difference between him and his coaching style and Amorim, you have to say, to be able to at least get this response from the players. What's your shot?
Yeah, as evidenced by the stat that you mentioned, where Pep has now lost 10 games to United. Every coach that comes in as a United coach over the past years has defeated Man City. Even Amorim did that when he came in last season. So not to take anything away from Carrick because it was a very impressive win, right? But I would say that this instantly puts Amorim's time at United to shame, in my opinion, because immediately switch to a back four, has Bruno in number 10 position as he should be. With two midfielders behind him, Casemiro and Kobe Meno. And they playing football. They dominated Man City from start to finish and should have won by more if not for Donnarumma making some incredible saves. So
Spider-Man.
massive credit to Carrick for just keeping things simple and playing players in their preferred position. And we saw the result. Time will tell what it leads to. They're currently fifth, as you mentioned. So time will tell what it leads to.
Yeah, of course. Huge confidence boost.
For sure.
A Derby win as a first game back. It's incredible actually. He had them playing some real beautiful football at one point in time. They had City all over the place. I'm pretty sure I could have a few Oles in there.
Foggy would be smiling.
For sure.
Yeah, but what stood out to me is that City only had one shot on target. They did leave the game with the most possession, and possession did not translate to goals, of course. But yeah, they are having issues. Manchester United managed the game pretty well. Knew when to control it. Knew when to sit back and allow City to, and then attack on the counter. So, it seems like for the first game, Carrick had all his I's dotted and his T's crossed. Hopefully, it's something to look forward to in the future. It's just not the same old.
It looks like clearer ideas. That's what the difference looks like almost immediately. Just clearer transmission of ideas and back to basics.
Yeah,
Players in their
keep it
position,
simple.
keep it simple, and it sounds rudimentary, but that's what sometimes what you have to do to get results, right? Another team with another new manager, Chelsea 2-0 over Brentford at Stamford Bridge. Dream Premier League start and debut in the dugout with that victory over Brentford for Liam Rossiner. Goals from João Pedro and Cole Palmer that ended a 5-man winless run in the league for Chelsea. So we could see why it kind of ended for the last manager. He has become just the second manager since Sarri in 2018 to win his first Premier League game in charge of the club. Graham Potter also did that in 2022. What say you, Shab?
Well, the scoreline flatters Chelsea, to be very honest,
Mhm.
because Brentford dominated the game. Brentford had 15 shots with 3 on target compared to 6 for Chelsea, and 2 on target, the 2 goals that they scored. And considering that Brentford were the away team, that's very impressive for a team of Brentford stature to go at Stamford Bridge and outshoot them and outplay them really and truly. It's just a case where they had poor finishing and some good saves from Mark Sanchez as well. So a good win from Chelsea because the stats would say 2-0 and it would look like a comfortable win, but it certainly doesn't tell the story of
The
the
full story of the game.
game.
And Brentford probably deserved a little. But like we said, dream start. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Over to Liverpool at Anfield. 1-1 draw with Burnley. They was forced to share the spoils. That's man.
4th straight draw in the Premier League.
4th straight
For
Premier League game. Burnley down in the relegation zone and still was able to fight back for the 1-1 draw at Anfield. Marcus Edwards arrowed in a 65th minute equaliser for Scott Parker's 19th place side on Saturday. Liverpool failed to make their dominance in the game count. We'll have to say.
Yeah, 100%. They are created about 32 shots and only scored once. So it shows how much they're lacking going forward. Borney, I believe, was sitting low. Klopp is a manager who tends to complain a lot about the low block, and he prefers that team actually come out and play
and
football against him.
You would hate it in.
Yeah, so Sobozlai missed a penalty
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Didn't mention
Hitting the post. But yeah, Liverpool failed to beat a promoted side, all of the promoted sides for the first time since 1980, 1981 season.
Crazy.
That's a crazy stuff.
Crazy work, actually. Something I want to say on Liverpool is that earlier on in the season, they were being criticized for being poor defensively and that kind of thing and leaking goals very easily. Slat clearly made an adjustment and then leaking less goals. As a result, they are less threatening going forward. So maybe they have taken a step too far back and it's hindering them. 4 straight draws in the Premier League is not good.
Yeah.
But they're currently
It have another start for the that's like the first time they did that since what?
long time since January 2008. Since January 2008, that's before they've drawn 4 consecutive games. So maybe they have gone a bit backwards too much.
We would say 6 out of the last 9.
Yeah,
Only winning 3.
exactly. So,
So
but Salah is back from AFCON and Votes has been in form
Yes.
along with Ekitike.
Probably
So
100%.
maybe now they could get the whole front three gelling and we'll see.
all right, league leaders Arsenal were held to a goalless draw away at Nottingham Forest. Forest held them for as long as they could have, kind of held on in the game. They were spurred on by Manchester City's defeat to Manchester United earlier in the match day. Arsenal knew that victory on Saturday would take them 9 points clear at the top, but instead they were rather frustrated. Forest came out with the intent to stop them. To be very honest, Sean Dyche in the corner. To be honest with Arteta, same old. Typical Dyche display, at least defensively, as one is likely to witness. Forest set out to frustrate them from start to finish. They failed to register a single shot on target in a Premier League match for the first time since November 2024. That was ironically also against Arsenal at the Emirates. So Arteta should have seen it coming, to be honest. He should have prepared for a situation like this, but still top of the league by a decent amount of time. A decent amount of points, sorry. Arsenal have tallied up 15 attempts, but only 3 of those were on target. So their 2.07 expected does not really tell the whole story of the game. Forest, however, did need a bit of magic from goalkeeper to keep them at bay. So it's not that they didn't really try to break them down. Unlucky day at the office.
Yeah, I'd say so. Not much to add because at this point we know what we're gonna get from Arsenal. Solid at the back. They're gonna look for 2 score from a set piece most likely. If they don't break down a team in open play. I'd say that the fact that City lost, Villa lost, a point away at Forest isn't bad, to be very honest, and it's just another point gained and they stay top.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment. So City drop points, Aston Villa drop points, and I gain 1.
Can't complain. I
Can't
keep a clean
complain.
sheet, you know what I'm saying?
You'll take it. We just wanna, run through some of the other results. Statsman, Sunderland beat Palace 2-1. Some stats with Sunderland this Premier League season.
Sunderland are just one of 2 Premier League teams yet to lose at home this season. So only Sunderland and Arsenal have yet to lose at home this season, right? While they have avoided defeat across their 11 opening games for the first time since 2001. So Sunderland going very well. Meanwhile, Palace are winless in the last 10 games.
Not doing very well.
Listen to this. They winless in the last 10 games. They lost the captain, Mark Gay, to Man City. Coach announced that he's leaving at the end of the season. And Mateta is also linked with
Aston Villa.
yeah, I'm moving this January transfer window. They're also 13th in the Premier League currently, so it's really rough right now
And
for Palace.
they're real close.
Dappy not happy to hear that about his Crystal Palace.
No, Aston
No,
Villa.
Aston Villa is not the team. Villa is not the team.
So yeah, not much to really add there. Just
Crazy how
very
fast,
shocking.
how fast Palace went from so high
They too.
dropping on their way.
Tottenham losing out to West Ham.
Tottenham, right.
West Ham entered the match
Tottenham things.
without a win in the last 10 games, and here came Tottenham Hotspur.
You get a win.
Everybody
You
gets
get
a
a win.
Everybody gets
Everybody gets a win.
Wolves beat West Ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolves beat West Ham.
Yeah. And then Spurs couldn't beat West Ham at home. That's the second consecutive week they lose a game in
90th minute.
Second, they lost also in the 90th minute last week against
Boy, rough right now, no?
Thomas Wrong job on the line.
For sure.
But
For sure.
the hot seat,
There's only 2 wins in
it's
the last.
time well 10.
There's only 2 wins in the last Premier League.
Time
Last
will
10
tell.
Premier League games. 2 wins in the last 10 Premier League games.
Remember,
We will have a chat about it.
remember now, we just talk about the European manager roulette. Once certain heads start to roll in certain direction, no. Man see you sack your coach and the man say, boy, the man sack the coach and you been doing that.
But they're doing
Well,
good
exactly.
in the other competition that we'll be speaking about later. So, I mean, that could be saving his job.
All right. Speaking of Wolves, drawing to Newcastle, they stretched their unbeaten run to 5 games in all competitions.
It's crazy.
Body changing form, boy.
That's crazy. Wolves
And
unbeaten 5.
Wolves, they bought.
Wolves unbeaten
City
5.
look out.
But they held Newcastle to that goalless draw. The visitors, Newcastle could have climbed to 5th and into a Champions League spot with a victory, but tired, flat performance.
Yeah. Newcastle is up and down team this season. And just like Spurs, they also going great in the Champions League as well. So, yeah, they just up and down. But credit to Wolves. Because like we said, they're 5 games unbeaten. They're still bottom of the table, but they're showing some fight.
Who's the manager for Wolves again?
I think it's Gary O'Neill.
Oh, they call him back right.
I tell you about the roulette, manager roulette, I don't tell you.
I'll sack him and then hire him again.
All right, let me move
Robert
to the-
Edwards, sorry.
Robert Edwards.
The manager of Wolves is Robert
Robert
Edwards.
Edwards,
Robert Edwards.
Nice.
Gary O'Neill was sacked.
We move to Dopy's team, Aston Villa. Could have gone second, but lose out to Everton at home. Could have closed the gap on us.
Mm-hmm.
Still in the title race. But with City and Arsenal dropping points, you'd have to say this was a great opportunity for Aston Villa. They could have gone within four points off the top. But Everton scored second half, denied them. But Statsman,
Villa have suffered only their second defeat last 29 Premier League home games. So, last ending a 8-win in a row streak that they had at home. And 11 win in our competition. So, also it's kind of shocking to me that they lost at home to Everton, knowing that Everton is not really the most inspiring team going forward. But I guess that's the Premier League for you.
And they're missing the talisman and Gay
And Gay.
in the midfield. It was just a game of poor finishing, really and truly. Aston Villa had all the possession, all the chances, but they were just not clinical enough. And Barry came and just stunned them and ended at 11 run home, whatever.
Yeah.
11 straight wins at home.
11
11
straight
straight
wins
wins
at
at home.
Yeah, so it was tough to see, but especially when you had the opportunity to, come a little closer to Arsenal. So yeah, it's tough.
All right. Well, like we said, Arsenal still sitting top at 50 points. City and Villa chasing at 43. Liverpool, United, and Chelsea down there at 36, 35, and 34 respectively. Well, Shabba and course with his prediction for Arsenal to top. My prediction trailing by 7 points. We'll see how the running goes. Right. On a shift to La Liga. Matchday 20. I'll run through the results and then we'll talk about the games again. So Madrid beat Levante at home 2-0. We got beat by Real Sociedad away. 2-1. Real Sociedad defeating Barcelona. Yeah, we'll talk. Atletico Madrid winning over Alaves 1-0. And we're just talking about the big three in Spain. Right. No. Mbappe, yet again, like I've said, scoring. That's his what? 5-0. 50th La Liga goal.
No. Yeah,
That's crazy.
quickly. I think from
I'm happy though.
53 appearances.
What can you say? You know my opinion, where I stand. 50 La Liga goals in such quick timing is nothing to scoff at.
At all. Raul Asensio was also on target in Arbeloa's first league match in charge. So another coach, it's another league win at the start. New manager bounce is real, people. I'm telling all you. Los Blancos moved within a point of league leaders Barcelona and bounced back from their midweek Copa del Rey defeat at Albacete. Hosts brought the deadlock in the 58th minute. Second half, Mbappe sent Matthew Ryan the wrong way from the penalty spot after he was fouled by Adrian De La Fuente in the box. Penalty, no penalty?
Pen, we've had a lot of pens this
Pen
season.
all day long.
Not much to say there.
Yeah, okay.
I'm telling you something.
You know, I don't know. I just want to feel the conspiracy. You know, it just seems that I really study under you get any pens, and it's when all they just get them penalty. And it's always when
Yeah, Vinicius,
struggling.
Vinicius and Mbappe up front.
Yeah,
gonna get fouled in the box.
defenders
Fouled
can't
in the box.
have an answer for that. I understand. I would have fouled him too. I would have kicked him. I'd be kicking him down, bro, puncture. Madrid doubled their lead 7 minutes later. Asensio powered in a header from Arda Güler's corner for his second goal in as many home games. I'd have to say Arda has proven what he showed in preseason that he could be a creative engineer, he could be a playmaker, he could be a goal creator for a lot of his teammates. He's a good player. Been looking at him. Madrid are, like we said, 1 point behind Barcelona despite being in a crisis. At least crisis for Madrid fans, You'd have to say a crisis is sacking your manager, losing to your big rivals in the Super Cup, and losing to a second division and 17th place team.
Right.
Despite that, Mbappe, like we said, 50 goals in La Liga, that's what now?
50 goals in 53 games. The second fastest player to score 50 La Liga goals in the 21st century. You would guess who is first? Right?
Yeah.
CR7.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying that.
Bro,
So
the similarities are crazy.
Only 2 more
in
games.
terms of this time.
Only 2 more games than Ronaldo. So.
I'll only hope that other similarities ring true, not necessarily in the Champions League, but Ronaldo spent 9 seasons in La Liga. He won the league twice for all those goals. So let's hope it continues. Okay, Leon, I know you will continue to absolutely obliterate defenses in La Liga. Is when he's over, let me put it here, when he's over in La Liga in particular, I think the goal tally would be something really insane.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I
He stays at the club 6, 7, 8, 9 years. He's gonna score that. That's putting it very lightly. To be honest, not much on the game. It wasn't the most inspiring performance, to be honest.
About the crowd.
That is what I want to touch on. That is what I want to touch on.
I need a napkin.
We spoke earlier on about the AFCON final.
Hold on.
The fans were waving the white hankies. The fans were waving the white hankies at the Bernabeu. Yeah, but
hankies are up.
Yeah, but like how we mentioned earlier about the AFCON final, that is something that we've hardly ever seen before, if ever. The scenes at the Bernabeu on Saturday, crazy. The Bernabeu has a history of booing everybody. CR7 get booed, Benzema get booed, Bale get booed. So the greatest players have been booed at the Bernabeu. Vinicius getting booed and Jude Bellingham and Fede Valverde being booed is nothing. It's nothing. It comes with the territory and the shot. But the amount and the volume and the consistency of it throughout the game was crazy to me. Before even halftime, when it was 0-0.
Yeah.
So you could imagine. And then even
halftime,
they celebrated when we scored, but even at the end of the game, there was still some whistles, and especially
at halftime
for Vinicius, every touch basically volume went up. But like I said, on the performance, not much to add. Not much that Arbeloa can really add in a few days with training the team. So I'm just grateful that we got the win.
Yeah, it's just a positive result really after all the off-field issues and the fan unrest. Well, it would have been worse, of course, if it didn't go in that direction. So yeah, all we could take away from that really is just the victory.
I want to touch on something we discussed with Man United, the difference we could have seen Amorim and Carrick, we can already see a difference between Xabi Alonso and Arbeloa. Not really talking about the results and the start, but the style. I mean, the press conferences alone.
The way he handles the media, he is from Madrid. He is a Madrid true and true. Alonso came through Real Sociedad Academy and went to Liverpool before he came to Madrid. So while he is a legend of the club, he might not necessarily. He only stayed there for about 4 seasons. He left the year after the La Decima. So he might not necessarily understand the culture at the club as much as Arbeloa would. So, like you mentioned, his press conferences have been exemplary, in my opinion. Is he's saying what Madrid fans and the players want to hear. Vinicius is getting all the praise. He is taking no credit for the wins. He is putting all of the congratulations on the players and not bigging up himself in any way. So he understands the need of massaging these players' ego. Well,
And he also took responsibility for a defeat.
Correct.
He took
Correct. He took responsibility
responsibility
for the defeat and he's not taking credit for the wins. So he knows how to massage the media. It's something that he's been doing even before he was Madrid's head coach. So long may it continue because these players need massaging. We've seen they only deal well with the Ancelotti type, the Zidane type coach who would come and be a man manager instead of a coach like Xabi Alonso and the likes of Lopetegui, Rafa Benitez. So it's within our history. So I'm not saying that Arbeloa is going to go on and win 3 Champions League in a row, but it's a good start.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great start. If you know a thing or two about Barcelona, in La Liga, Anoeta is never a nice place for us to go. We've experienced some joy there in recent seasons, to be fair. But the Anoeta is a place that always could throw up a banana peel, and that it did. We missed the chance to restore our 4-point lead at the La Liga Summit following that defeat by 10-man Real Sociedad in the end. Guedes scored the winner. Hansi Flick's side had 3 goals disallowed. Right. And we hit the woodwork 5 times. Right? So our 9-game winning streak in La Liga was halted 11-game winning streak. Also snapped. La Real thought they had actually taken the lead. Barcelona conceding, even though it's offside, yet another goal seconds into the game. I just don't understand. I can't see how Flick hasn't addressed that shaky start type of thing. Maybe the comeback gimmick is something we want to keep in it. 4 men had goals disallowed. Lamine had a goal ruled out for offside as well, following the VAR reviews. Frankie De Jong was also called offside and had a goal chalked off. Oyarzabal, I have to say, excellent goal in the 32nd minute. Serious volley like he does. I'm a Spain fan, so I know
Very underrated.
I know what Mikel Oyarzabal can do.
Very.
I think the other day by the bar we were talking about Oyarzabal
Yes.
in Spain team. In any case, a lot of controversial decisions. We were denied a penalty in stoppage time. Yamal, they said, was offside in the build-up. The goalkeeper tipped over effort from Daniel Mo, another one from from Lewandowski, hit onto the post in the second half. Then we actually equalized in the 70th minute. Marcus Rashford came on and nodded home a cross from Lamine. Great cross from Lamine. Great cross from Lamine, to be honest. But again, right after we score, and I think, okay, we get back in this. L'Oreal booms. Within 60 seconds, Goodis with his volley after scrambling at the goal mouth. We hit the post again. Kunde head off the post. They got a red card. Sole, who scored in the first minute of the game and had it chalked off, got a second yellow for fouling. Pedri. We cannot replace him.
We'll get to that.
We cannot replace him. But we'll get to that. And they held out for their victory. Unlucky game. Ball didn't really want to go into the net, to be honest. Some controversial calls, but this is La Liga. whatever. The defense just shaky, bro. That's that's all I have to say right now. I have some other things to say, but a little bit later we talk.
Not much to add. Slappy game, but like you said, it's a very kind of game in terms of decision making from the referee and yeah, a little bit unlucky with some of the offside calls. So
Lots of people are gonna hold on to that, but this is La Liga. Move on, put the ball in the net. Lick your wounds. 1 point league. We'll see how it is. Atletico Madrid, classic Simeone. 1-0 over Alaves. We could stop right there, to be honest.
yeah,
Honest.
yeah.
Trademark.
Classic.
Trademark.
Trademark. Classic. They maintain their unbeaten start at home. So they're still unbeaten. You have to give credit to that. But they are 8 points behind in the league, realistically.
Yeah, what
Yeah, Villarreal actually ahead of them right now
with a game in
with a game in hand. So overall, Barca still top of the table, 49 points. Like we said, 1 point lead. Madrid in second at 48. Villarreal and Atleti tussling it out there on 41 points each. But Villarreal have a game in hand, and it's gonna be interesting because of the next set of fixtures coming up, because they're gonna be a clash between, again, two of the top four teams are gonna tussle it out. So we'll see how things go. That's it for Spain. We head over to Italy and the Serie A just to check on things. In Serie A, Inter are still top of the table, solid 1-0 win on the road versus Udinese. Lautaro Martinez, top scorer of the Serie A, by the way, with the victory, the game-winning goal. That keeps Inter on top with 49 points. AC Milan is currently in second. They are 3 points behind on 46. So we were talking earlier in the season about, that this year are being close. There's some distance starting to build up between the teams on the top, but the AC Milan still maintaining the pressure. They edged out Leeds 1-0 thanks to their new signing, Fulkrug. That's now 20 league games unbeaten, by the way, for AC Milan. So that's saying something.
crazy.
20 league games.
20,
Yeah, 20,
league games unbeaten.
A feat last achieved for them in 92-93 under Fabio Capello.
Oh, they only lose last one game so far for this season. Wow.
Defending champions Napoli also won 1-0. They defeated Sassuolo thanks to Lobotka strike. Napoli are also unbeaten in 21 league games at home. That's a streak of over 20 games for the fifth time in their history. But they still some distance behind Inter, 6 points, 3 behind Milan. They're on 43 points. Roma close behind them on 42. They defeated Torino 2-0. But their city rivals Torino city rivals Juve lost to Calgary, and like 3 points off the top four in 39. So out of the title race, we'd have to say unless something major changes. But definitely the tussles between the two teams from the same city, from the same stadium. So Inter and AC definitely gonna tussle it out for the Serie A title. Any comments on Serie A so far?
Yeah, not much to add. You summarized it very well there. Inter and AC for the title. About our top scorer. I just want to highlight Nico Paz because he had another exceptional game the other day, scoring a brace. That I think he's the leading goal contribution player in the Serie A in terms of goals and assists combined. So just shout out to Nico Paz with Como.
Yeah. Great. Shifting to Bundesliga. Dortmund top. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Bayern still unbeaten in the Bundesliga title defense. I'm not sure who is going to defeat them this season. They came from behind, to be fair. Leipzig, however, scored the first goal, but conceded. 5-1.
As usual.
Bayern company, they're running away with it. They are no 50 points. And 50 points. Dortmund on 39 points. Can we give them the well, it's not well, it's a trophy, but it's not a cup. It's a plate in the Bundesliga. Rather stunning plate, to be fair. Give it to company, let them man bust the tap the thing in the barrel.
Get it
Let
to
them
them already.
and let them man party like it's October.
Yeah.
So it's over.
Yeah, we've already said all in the season that we know Bayern is going to win the league, and the main focus for them is the Champions League. Really.
For sure. All 5 goals in the second half, to be fair. So for a while, Leipzig maybe thought that, they'd get a home win. They'd get a win, but 5 different goal scorers. You could list them out for me.
Gnabry, Harry Kane, Pavlovic, and Michael Olise.
So again, Gnabry, Kane, Olise. Man named deadly bro. Some stats about Olise.
Olise became the second player on record to assist 3 goals after coming on as a substitute in a Bundesliga match, following in the footsteps of Frank Ribery, who also did that in 2019 against Wolfsburg. So you have
French Connect.
3 assists off the bench for Olise.
Wow.
Most assists in the league right now.
Bayern remain 11 points ahead of Borussia Dortmund, Hoffenheim and Stuttgart, and 33 points down there in third and fourth. Not much else to mention from Germany, to be honest. Over in France, however, it's not going according to plan per se. You would expect that Paris Saint-Germain are at the top of the French league, but currently, if you're not paying attention, club called Lens, like we've been talking about, continuing their impressive assault on the title. To be honest, what's that now?
10 consecutive wins and 13 and 14.
The top of the league in League One, 43 points. I mean, to be fair, Paris Saint-Germain are right there with them on 42, but it has to be said that this is a great run from Lens.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Really. I'm trying to see what team in the past. It gives me a feel of a team in
Leicester?
the past, but
Leicester?
Leicester. Maybe there was one who fell off, who was this hot and then eventually fell
Girona.
off. I think it was Girona.
Like a
But
Girona vibes.
yeah, it does give me that kind of vibe. They really need to be impeccable from here on in to really fend off PSG. As we can see, they're just 1 point behind with Lens having such a great recent record. So
PSG keeping the pressure on. They beat the 3-0 race from Concourse. I'm sorry. Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembele, Sunshine Snacks.
yeah, so
I'm familiar with the
they
game.
really had to keep this up. I'm not expecting them to, but it would be nice to see that they defend off PSG all the way.
We so often in France a team has come and win the league because Lille did it the other year. There was a year with Montpellier as well. So every so often a team comes out from the dark and it's in France. Could be this year.
We'll see if it's this year. Perhaps, defending the Champions League might be a priority, but we know they're still looking to win the league. But that wraps up the last weekend of action in the big top 5 leagues all over Europe. But of course, we have to talk about our favorite competition. At least here on GSCP, it's not my favorite competition.
So the champions.
That's correct.
Editor, just edit like the PTSD, the barman shells going off. I'm just having a moment. It was a good match day. Let's talk about the Champions Leagues. We're gonna talk about these games as we call the results this time. Bodo Glimt. If you don't know that team, go check them out. They just beat Manchester City 3-1. Yeah, they call it Capodo. Glimt stunned Manchester City with a well-deserved, no gimmicks, well-deserved 3-1 Champions League victory. Kasper scoring twice to outclass Erling Haaland on his return to Norway.
It's crazy.
You sheriff in town, I the bad boy over. Hey, don't go in England, do your thing over there. I can show this. Pep had Rodri sent off, and they're gonna point to that. But 2 yellow cards, 2 bookable offenses, 53 seconds in the second half. One after the other. It's usually a lot of fans complain when it happens like that, 2 yellow cards in quick succession, but you have to say 2 fouls.
They were already down 3-1 at that point as well. So it's not something that they could really hold on to, in my opinion. They were dominated from start to end.
Yeah, but that being in the 60th minute, they could have said, we had Rodri, could have mount a comeback.
That's the way the game.
It was over. Tell us a bit more about the game, Sean.
Well, the striker Hogg applied the finishing touch to 2. Ole Blomberg crosses in the first half, and Jens Peter Hogg then scored a sensational third from long distance in the 58th. Chucky then pulled one back later on, immediately after the third goal went in. But their hopes were diminished after Rodri was sent off. So I'd say that Bodo definitely deserved the victory.
Could I remember?
Yeah, it was a brilliant display of counter-attacking football as well. As we know,
very fast.
City would have all the possession. This Max Allen youth, I think his name is like a baptism of fire right now, because they are not been having the best of form. They're actually just 2 wins in 7. Only 2 wins in 2026, and those were cup games in the EFL and the FA Cup. Yeah, Pep needs to get it right, but hopefully he comes in and gives them some defensive solidity. But it
must be nice to just 60 mil here, 90 mil.
I really hope that fixes his problem, because losing 3-1 to Bodo Glimt is, I would say it's equivalent to losing 3-2 to Alderete, honestly speaking. Albacete.
True. Point well taken. Inter Milan doing good in the Serie A, but in the Champions League, they experience another defeat. So certain pretty, But Inter 1, Arsenal 3. 2 goals from the man that Pep Guardiola said was Manchester City. My boy as well.
Victor Gyökeres.
You signing Gyökeres. I rate him down. Have a vibes. 3-1 over Inter. Arsenal are definitely in the Champions League last 16. Shabba, again, the predictions seeming on point. I saw 7 out of 7 for Arsenal.
7, first time
7
ever.
wins.
Yeah.
7 wins.
Speaking about 7, they also made 7 changes to the lineup, which shows the significant depth they have in all positions. And while making all those changes, they could still play high quality football across, the different competitions. So it's really impressive to see. As much of a doubt I was, you just have to admit that Arsenal
have to respect it.
Yeah, on top of the world.
Making 7 changes and going to the San Siro and beating Inter comfortably is not something that you should just scoff at, because that's actually crazy. You could just go there, made 7 changes and wipe the floor with Inter in the home ground.
Yeah, because Inter really didn't look like they put up much of a fight.
Inter don't lose games at the San Siro either in the Champions League like that, so it's actually crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's crazy too.
Very, very impressive from Arteta team.
A game that I know my boys are looking forward to talking about, so I'm gonna respect the fans and them. Let them tell us about the Madrid man.
Them man make Xabi Alonso get sacked. Them man make Xabi Alonso get sacked.
You thought the things, bro.
Bro, I am watching this game. We 4-0 in, bro. Mbappe loses the ball, and I see him in the full 100-meter sprint down the road to go try to defend this. Never have I ever seen this man not do that, bro. What was the difference all of a sudden? Why couldn't that be done then? Why all of a sudden there's this energy now to go forward with some, relentless. And it was just, as much of it was a breath of fresh air to see, I was really annoyed by it, because this is what was requested and required of you guys from the man before. What have Abel really done to really effect this kind of change? Is crazy to see, honestly speaking, in such a short time.
Bro, I agree 100%. Which is why I would have to agree somewhat with the decision to get rid of Alonso before things continue to spiral down, because it's clear that him and the dressing room won't getting along, especially the key players in the dressing room. So that's never a healthy environment for winning, basically. So I agree with the change because it's working in these first two games. Clearly, it didn't work against Albacete. Maybe that was too soon. But the evidence that we have here so far is telling, a 6-1. Monaco aren't in the best form, as we mentioned.
The last 4 games of the league.
Right? Right? So it's not a case where we defeated a wall beater. But when is the last time that we scored 6 goals and played so convincing and swept forward with some quick counter attacks? You know what I'm saying? The third goal, especially when Camavinga did the back flick and then no, that was Mbappe's second goal. Camavinga did the back flick, Gula played the true ball to Vinny and then he squared it for Mbappe. That was a crazy goal. That was reminiscent of we at our best. So
Mourinho days.
Long may it continue, bro, because we're gonna get some rest in the Champions League now. As in, hopefully, once we beat Benfica in the last day, we're not guaranteed top 8. We're not guaranteed top 8, but we have to beat Benfica in the next game. That would avoid us having to play a playoff game. Get some rest in February.
That's crazy.
You never know.
And still might end up.
I think
You never know.
it's pretty close, but it seems like
No, we're not guaranteed. Only Arsenal, this are mathematically guaranteed
To finish top 2.
Yeah, to have finished top 2. We still have to beat Benfica.
Yeah, a couple of teams
have to beat Benfica.
Points for real.
Yeah, we have to beat Benfica. So good start from Arbelo. I can't complain whatsoever.
Statsman. Mbappe is at it again.
Yeah, Mbappe is the first player to reach double digits in the Champions League this season, right? So he has 11 goals. That matches CR7's 2015-16 haul for most by any player in a group/league phase campaign. So 11 goals in the league phase, and he still has another game, is the most by any player. Chances are he's gonna get another one next week against Benfica and get that record. So great start from him. I have some stats on Vinny, but I'll save that for later.
Vinny had a great game, man.
Big up Mastan too, no. That been the best game so far, I think, in a Madrid short. Even without the goal.
Slim Shady.
Slim Shady they call him, but you could see the desire in him from the very first day, and it hasn't faded. So I just wanna big him up. Sometimes he tries a bit too much and it doesn't come off, but you could see that he has the desire and the work.
Yeah, he's enthusiastic. He gives me Di Maria vibes for sure. Not just because he's Argentinian, but the style of play is somewhat similar to the running and the very busy, man. Very busy. You're basically tired by watching him run whole game. So he adds something different to the right hand side of the attack. As we know, it's mostly tailored to the left. So long may it continue with him as well, because we need someone consistent on the right side. I mean, Rodrigo is out now. When he's back, I'm assuming he would slap back in. But for the time, Mas Antonio is doing well. Brahim will be back soon too. So we're having numbers in attack.
All right. Defending champions PSG suffered a 2-1 defeat to Sporting. Luis Suarez scored a brace. No, not that. But he scored a brace to secure Sporting's a dramatic 2-1 win over the defending champions. PSG had looked like they had salvaged a point. Kvaratskhelia had a great strike, serious goal. But the hopes of a top 8 finish took a bit of a blow. We'll talk about how many teams are on the same points just in a bit. Colombians sent them the whole stadium into a frenzy, to be very honest. He nodded his rebound in off of Trincao's effort in the 90th minute. Barcelona selling Trincao for pennies, it looks like at this point, because he's really, impressing.
Very much
in
so.
the second stint. Sealing all 3 points for Sporting. PSG hopes of an automatic qualification were dented badly. But Sporting boosted their own chances. They are now 6th in the table and with a huge chance of making it into the top 8.
Yeah, it was the first loss for PSG against a team playing outside the Big Five league since December 2013. But they also lost against a Portuguese team, Benfica, and then a run of 32 games without such defeat. So crazy stat. Yeah,
Them man never win in Portugal either.
PSG have never won in Portugal, so yeah, I guess that's a kryptonite for
They
them.
lose the last 4 out of 5.
In Tuesday's other results, Club Brugge with a whopping 4-1 victory over Almaty. Copenhagen held Napoli to a 1-1 draw. Olympiacos defeated Leverkusen 2-0. Tottenham beat Borussia Dortmund 2-0. And Villarreal lost out to Ajax 2-1. Villarreal not having a good Champions League campaign at all. A singular point from a draw.
Them man carrot.
And
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
yeah.
It's embarrassing for,
Them man Almaty
Spanish
get
football.
without-
This is the third place team in the Spanish league at the moment.
You know,
So that's not good.
Them man carrot.
Well, I don't want to say anything about the La Liga.
Yeah. Big up sports though. It's good to see that they actually having some good form in at least in the Champions League. We know how piss poor their domestic form has been. They maintain a perfect record at home in the Champions League. That kind of ease some pressure on Frank, but they have gone now 24 games at home in Europe without losing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting that that has been going on over that side, and then the losing and so forth in the English league.
Crazy.
Wednesday's games.
One must start. Spurs beat
Oh,
Dortmund
sorry.
the last 5 games.
Spurs and Dortmund.
Spurs and Dortmund.
In the last 5 games on Dortmund. And Spurs win all.
Spurs win out.
That's crazy. That is not including that. Wow. Didn't they beat Dortmund on the way to the final?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they met. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. We'd have to fact check that.
Fact check that. Slavia Prague 2 goals to Barcelona's 4. And if you are down on your luck as a football team, if your strikers are not scoring and your team is not scoring and your fans don't have anything to cheer about, don't worry. Boy, do I have the defense for you. But we'll get there. Lewan scoring in the Champions League, but in the wrong net. And then he finally got his Champions League goal. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Foreman Lopez. Respect yourself, my boy. A brace. Could have been more, could have had more. Danny Almo with a stunner as well. We got a 4-2 win. Rather entertaining game, but not for Barcelona fans in terms of the way that we keep conceding, and it's usually immediately after we score, we keep having to come back in games. And in any case, that victory propelled Barcelona from 15th in the standings to 9th. A lot of results around us worked in our favor, you'd have to say. But that ensures that we will be within shot of automatic qualification for the last 16 when we face Copenhagen next week at home. However, we cannot replace him. We cannot replace him. We have talented midfielders at Barcelona, but Pedri being out for a month. We were talking earlier. I have to say, that could derail our entire season, bro. This is crunch time. We're getting into it. It's the ending of January, we're getting into February. This is clutch time. This is banana peel time. This is when you need for control games and
I agree.
and secure points and conserve energy as well. That's also underestimated part of this leg this season, isn't it? You can't be fighting it out in every game and thinking you're going to go and really perform and win out, innit? Unless you have the squad depth and sound for that.
True.
That is where these kind of injuries and sounders come from, because the players that you really depending on not really getting to rest and recover. And we talk a lot about the schedule, but as fans, when we get into the football, we just kind of forget that, these are humans and these things are possible. We'll see how it goes with his hamstring. Statsman.
Yeah, it sounds unbelievable, but Lewandowski's goal was his first in the Champions League this season. On his 6th outing, right?
Nah.
That's his first goal.
But maybe he been injured for some bit.
Yeah.
Well, six outing.
Six.
6 games. So 4
Six.
goals in 6 games.
Trying to make an excuse.
Right? At the age of 37 and 153 days, he is the second oldest Champions League scorer for a Spanish club after Sergio Ramos.
Big up yourself.
For
40-year-old. I can't disrespect my
He is also the 17th player to net at both ends in the Champions League history.
I can't disrespect my elders.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
He's a legend,
Legend of
and
this
he's
competition.
a great scorer for Barcelona. Even in the Champions League, I'm sure he's already up there on the Barcelona Champions League list because what was the video start with? Are you ready for that?
No, yeah, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it at all. We'll get there. We'll get
We'll
there.
get there. We'll get there. Before we get there, Liverpool doing well in
Cup competition.
the Champions League, in the cup competition at least. They climbed into a top 8 spot. They beat Marseille 3-0 commanding victory away. Szoboszlai with a rather clever free kick. Gakpo with a tidy finish, either side of an own goal from Geronimo Rulli. And that owned the win for Arnie's side. 11 to 4th. So, as we're going to talk about in a bit, the Champions League, you have to say the new format is rather entertaining right now. But yeah, Szoboszlai with a great goal. Liverpool with a great victory, you have to say.
Yeah, hostile conditions in France against a team we've spoken about this season being impressive. Liverpool went there and swamped them, so just goes to continue to show the dominance of teams. So,
Yeah, it's Liverpool third consecutive victory against Marseille. That's now 13 games unbeaten. So I guess they could take, this as a positive. Yeah, they have some draws in there, but they can take this as a positive. They haven't been losing games. So they got on the slot on the boys.
yeah.
Final stat. Szoboszlai's goal before halftime marks the first Liverpool player to score multiple free kicks in a single season since, of course,
Trent.
yeah, 2022-2023 also had 2 free kicks in the season. Mounted as a specialist in terms of it actually going in. Yeah. Bayern beat Union St. Louis 2-0. Kane at the double and also missed a penalty, so could have had a hat-trick, and they confirmed their place in the last 16 of the Champions League. Well, pretty much confirmed their place in the last 16. They're gonna be there with that 2-0 win. Harry Kane, boy.
Leading the race for the golden boot.
Harry Kane, boy. Harry! I tell
Leading the
you,
race, bro.
remember,
Going
I have
on.
you down for golden boot. I have him down.
That's Bayern. Before we move on,
Mhm.
because there's not much to mention, simple 2-0 win. Bayern has now won 60. Their 60th home victory 2-0 in the Champions League, right? The most by any team in the competition. Also with Kane has now been directly involved in 32 goals in 32 Champions League games for Bayern, 26 goals and 6 assists, the most by any player in that time span. 26 goals are also the joint most alongside Mbappe. So he and Mbappe tied during that period. Olise has 17 assists in all competitions this season, the most in top 5 league, along with no, that's the most in top 5 leagues, right? That is at least 6 more than any other player,
I had a feeling.
right? 2 players are tied on 11. Wanna guess who?
You know what I mean?
Lamine is one.
I mean, this one.
A Madrid player.
Ada?
Yeah,
Okay.
Some of the results from Wednesday: Chelsea defeated Pafos 1-0. Moses Caicedo with a header. Chelsea are now unbeaten in 15 Champions League games. Well, at least group stage games at home. 11 wins, 4 draws, and they've won their last 6 in a row. That includes that defeat against that defeat of Barcelona. I have to mention it. You understand? Newcastle with a 3-0 victory over PSV. They boosted their hopes, so not win 100% as according to plan in the league. But again, as we'll talk about later, the British, the English clubs are doing great.
Man, they know what to prioritize.
Yes.
They know how to prioritize.
Yeah, but I have some points to talk about with, with that in particular. But they're going they're going great. They're going great. Galatasaray and Atletico drew 1-1. Frankfurt lost to Karabakh 3-2. Atalanta got defeated by Athletic Bilbao at home 2-3. And Juventus beat Benfica 2-0. It makes for an interesting table currently. I mean, it's just very few points separating the top teams. Just a reminder in the new format, the teams that finish, sorry, just a reminder for the new format, the teams that finish in the top 8 of the league phase are drawn against the winners of the knockout playoffs. That is where the teams who finish between
9 and 24.
9 and 24 will play each other. So the winners of those fixtures will play the top 8, and that's how the round of 16 will shape up as usual. 2 legs, second leg. The teams who finish in the top 4 in particular will play the second leg and the quarterfinal second leg if they make it at home. The top 2 teams will be given the second leg home advantage in the round of 16, quarterfinal and semi-final. So just some idea of what the benefit is of finishing as high as you possibly can. It's a really tiered system, and we have to say that 30 out of the 36 teams still have something to play on match day 8. 8 teams are currently on 13 points each. I have to hold my hands up on the new format. It took some getting used to, and I think I was more apprehensive about it when it was first announced versus when it was actually put in place. Because even last season I had admitted already that, it seems to be working and it seems to be entertaining. Let's go through some of the permutations. Barca are playing Copenhagen, and Copenhagen need a win to stay in the competition.
So it's not going to be easy.
So it's not going to be an easy game for us to just jump from 9th into one of the top 8 positions. But being on 13 points, we can get there. Sporting play Athletic Bilbao, also needing a win to stay in the competition. City, who are out of the top 8 right now, one of the only teams from the Premier League to not be in the top 8 right now, interestingly. They face Galatasaray at home, who also need a win to stay in the competition. Atleti face Bodo, who just, like we said, dismantled Manchester City, and they need a win to stay in the competition. Inter plays Dortmund. Inter have 12 points. Dortmund have 11 points. Chelsea facing Napoli, and they need to fight for a qualifying position, basically.
Napoli.
Tottenham play Frankfurt, but Frankfurt are already out, playing for pride, more than likely. Liverpool play Karabakh, who are in the top 24 and need just 1 point to stay in the competition and get a playoff spot. PSG and Newcastle, which is my favorite fixture out of all of them,
Both on 13 points.
are both on 13 points, and they are 6th and 7th respectively, and they are facing each other. So at least something
Must happen.
must happen. You understand this? What I have to be doing, right? Doing all the gymnastics and all of these calculations. I have to be a mathematician and a statistician
Checking out other games.
to check out all these other games, and I'm keeping my finger on the pulse. But I'm watching a lot of football, and I can't complain. But we get to come here and talk about these sports from a Caribbean perspective.
Sure.
In terms of the standings, give me the top 8.
The top 8 currently includes the Gunners, who we discussed as the number 1 team, and Bayern, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham, Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle, and Chelsea. So, what is something that you will observe in the top 8 out of the 8 teams?
There is a Premier League top 8.
Out of the 8 teams,
In my opinion,
5 are from the
5 of them from the Premier League, and the others are basically at the top. What's the others?
It's only Man City. Only Man City left.
No, not the other Premier League. I talk about the other 3 in the top 8. Look at the other 3 teams in the top 8.
Oh, yeah.
Bayern, who absolutely
Bayern.
running away with the league, and Madrid and
Paris.
PSG, who are second in their leagues, but by 1 point.
Yeah, close.
You see what's happening? Premier League is, I don't know, Premier League fans would use this and talk about the strength and the entertainment. level of the league. But I am focusing on the difference in the spending power and the ability to assemble, deep enough squads to be able to compete at that sort of level. I don't know if the other leagues are looking, but they are definitely at this stage in modern football. Premier League is ahead comfortably.
No doubt.
Yeah, something that we mentioned countless times on GSCP here. Also, remember Spurs and United, who finished 16th and 17th respectively in Premier League last year, in the Europa League final. So that just goes to show the strength of the Premier League. And
5 teams in the top 8. City could
five teams,
make it
five
6.
teams in the top 8, and one of them is not City. So that just goes to show you the strength in depth. And I'm not sure when it's gonna get any better. Because even if you look at the Europa League, Aston Villa is top of the Europa League table as well. So the dominance continues. And I literally went through the Europa League because we haven't touched on the Europa League for the season so far. But I looked at the Europa League, the 36 teams, and to be honest, I don't see a team that could necessarily compete with Villa at their best. Really and truly is the likes of Leon and Real Betis. So I would say Aston Villa are comfortably better than those teams at the moment. And like I said, it just goes to show the dominance of the Premier League over the other leagues.
Yeah, we can say, Premier League clubbing when it's since 18 that long ago is Manchester City in 2023. So definitely the dominance, the stronghold on the football is showing. It's getting stronger every single year. The gap is getting wider. We'll see what happens. The last day, game day, is interesting because all the games will be played at the same time. So you're gonna have to have your laptop, your phone, your TV, the big screen, everything locked in and looking at all of these different fixtures. Sorry. So that wraps up our coverage of the UEFA Champions League. And before we close things out, it's time to.
That period of cricket.
Oh, you wanna hit it? All right, so I'll do that over.
The man in the match.
So that wraps up our coverage of the UEFA Champions League. And before we get into our very final segment, Dappy wants to give us some crickets from the cricket wickets. So we're gonna head into some cricket action.
Of course, we're talking about West Indies, so really a lot to talk about, but not much really to talk about. West Indies took on Afghanistan in a 3-match T20 series, and today was the last game. The series was done and dusted after the second T20. Afghanistan won that comfortably by 39 runs after winning the first game by 38 runs. West Indies then took home a consolation win, winning by 15 runs, scoring 151 for 7. They then outdone Afghanistan for 136. Mind you, the 151 was the highest total for West Indies for the series. Afghanistan hit 181 and 189 for the series so far. So yeah, 151 shows how poor of a batting performance it was. It was a poor bowling performance, poor all-round performance. Really and truly, as guys were smacked around the park, and Afghanistan built some huge partnerships with Zedran and Ibrahim and so forth. So yeah, another poor showing all around from the West Indies. What we can take from this series though is that there was a few positives from the likes of a Brandon King who scored a 50 early up, and then today he scored 47 runs off of 35. Shimmer Hitmeyer scored a quick fire 46 yesterday in a losing battle. But some of these guys were really vying for a spot in the T20 World Cup side that will be taking place a little later this year. So
That's what I
pretty soon.
That's what I wanted to touch on, because the World Cup is literally next month in February, the start of February. Right? I think it kicks off on the 7th of February. What do you think our chances are? Because historically speaking, we are a T20 team. In recent history, I should say. And usually our chances are usually high. We won the last time it was played in India as well. And we have that. But we're comfortably ranked ahead of Afghanistan, but we comfortably lost to them. So what are our chances? What do you think are our chances?
I really don't think we have any real chance of winning. Yes, we could say, yeah, we West Indies and we know the force and the aggression that we bring and the 6-hitting
Yeah, the
ability.
excitement in the format of the game.
But looking around at other teams like the Australias, the Indias, the South Africas, those are the favorites. Even New Zealand are favorites, and those teams look like a better unit from top to bottom. We know we have a strike baller in Alzari. We have Akil Hussein, but we need to really like knit it together, get it all together in some good performances. Of course, we can't have perfect performances every game, but yeah, I don't think that we have enough.
In the structure.
Starting off with the opening batters, Johnson Charles still there.
That's a good record in India, though.
Okay, fine.
But he's close to 40. I agree with
You
you.
know,
I agree with you.
when he does get back down, he's almost like Raheem Cornwall, who he doesn't rotate the strike.
Yeah.
Evan Lewis was recalled for this series and really had a poor series. He was dropped today, and they brought in, I think, someone came in for him. We were expecting, we had high hopes for Evan. Evan would have been a great boost if he was on form. So yeah, I really think from top to bottom, we don't have enough. It's inadequate, really and truly, to compete to the likes of Australia, India, and South Africa. But you know how it goes. Anything could happen on the day.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's gonna be an interesting tournament, to be honest. We hope that when we rally, we're gonna be rallying for a good cause, but we'll see how it is. We know that we're going to keep us on the pulse for sure. Before we close things out for this episode, we had a packed episode today. It's time for us to highlight excellence. You know, man of the match dogs and them on it. All right, we don't want you two giving us striking. So we hold it down. Man of the match, give me a man of the match from this week. I'll start with Happy.
Boy, all right. Really and truly, Prima couldn't choose, right? Because we had hat trick in the Afghanistan game by Mujib yesterday, then a hat trick today by Shama Springer bowling.
Great celebration, too.
Right, and then we had Zachary Carter, who I believe this is the one I want to have as my man of the match. Zachary Carter, who's playing in the under-19 World Cup. He played against South Africa. He scored 114 off of 104 balls. That included 8 fours and 8 sixes. No other batter got over 29 runs. After that 29, extras came closest with 28. So they put on a score of, I think, 264, and they ended up winning the match. So it was a Herculean effort
Carried.
from Zachary Carter.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Shab.
Yeah. So, mention a few times I will have some stats on Vinny to mention, and he is my man of the match today, right? He produced a stunning performance against Monaco, right? After being booed on the weekend against Levante. Producing 1 goal and 3 assists, right? One of those assists was when he forced an own goal and getting a man of the match award, right? So let me hit you with some stats. Now leads the UEFA Champions League this season with the most assists alongside Michael Olise with 6, right? That's now 30 UEFA Champions League assists for him for his career. He's only 12 behind the all-time most assists in the Champions League, and that's 42 from Cristiano Ronaldo. To give you some context, right? The 30 assists that Vinny currently has is the same amount that Xavi Hernandez and Thomas Muller has for their career as well. And these are legendary players, right? These are players who we consider legendary players. Both of them, Thomas Muller and Xavi Hernandez. Also, he has 30 goals in the Champions League. So he has 30 goals and 30 assists in the Champions League. That's a total of 60 goal contributions in 75 appearances for him. So, for somebody who does get a lot of flack in the media, rightfully so, a lot of the time as well, he needs to get the praise and credit that he deserves because his Champions League record is incredible. 2 goals in the finals as well. So that is something that I definitely have to highlight. Also, if you were playing for Barcelona, right, he would be the second all-time leading top scorer in the Champions League history, behind Messi. So just think about that for a second. Think about all the great players that have played for Barca in their history, right? And Vini, currently at 25 years old, would be the second all-time leading scorer for Barca in their history. So just think about that for a second when you criticize him, right? Because this is an all-time great UEFA Champions League player at least, right? So that's my man of the match.
That's our man of the match segment. Nah, I'm joking. Right? But I couldn't necessarily look in and around this particular match week and give a man of the match. And I like to be a little controversial with my man of the match for this match week is none other than Brahim Diaz.
What's your reasoning? What's your logic?
My reasoning is I just can't shake the feeling that this
He threw it to him.
yeah, bro. You great, bro. You great because I mean, like we said, he still received his award for top scorer in the Africa Cup.
Made the team really
I'm not
tough.
trolling by him, piling on and son. But the moment that's crazy. That just add to the craziness of just having seen a team walk off the pitch.
Lucky in Colombia, he live.
Boy,
Oh my God.
boy.
And in that moment is a Panenka. And I'm not here to talk about he audacious or he boasting. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just a crazy moment to me to see the progression of events. And I keep saying Mendy's a little Mendy needs some active.
Well, I guess that's where you would see players usually put their hands over their mouth when they're speaking to avoid, conspiracies like what we're discussing now. So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Shout out Foreman as well. Just from my little personal team shout out to be biased,
Oh, he's in form, cracking player.
That little thing.
Talking about cracking player and inform, I have one more person we have to talk about. Vitel Lars from the West Indies under 19. I think this is one to watch. He's a leg spinner, left arm as well.
Spinner?
Yes. And I have seen a few clips of him during this ongoing tournament, and he has been bamboozling batsmen. I've seen one where he dropped it between middle and leg, and it spun back and clipped the top of half. And this is a youth, so it's really something special. He's played 3 matches so far. He's got 3 for 23 in 6 overs against Tanzania, 3 for 48 against Afghanistan, and then just 1 for 60 against South Africa today. But that 1 wicket today was a peach. It was something special. So look out for Vitel Lars.
All right, man. Like we said, packed episode. Lots of things going on right now in the world of sport. Basketball season is kicking on, and we're going to be talking about that again soon. So lots more to bring you, lots more in store. Thank you so much for tuning in. That brings us to the end of today's episode of Global Sports from a Caribbean perspective. Now remember, 1 GSCP. Global.